Snow White stood in front of the tiny cottage, her heart still beating fast after running through the forest. The windows were small and round the door just her size, and beautiful flowers surrounded the house. She gently knocked on the door, but no one answered. As she stood there, Snow White felt a mix of hope and trepidation, wondering if anyone lived in this enchanting little hideaway. The forest echoed with the soft rustling of leaves, amplifying her solitude. The door open. Inside, everything was so neat and tiny. There were 7 little chairs, 7 little cups, and 7 little plates on the table. "How cute," Snow White whispered. "I wonder who lives here." Snow White stepped further inside, captivated by the charm of the tiny room. She noticed a small handwritten note resting on one of the plates, curiosity bubbling within her as she wondered what secrets it might hold. Snow White looked around and noticed the room was covered in dust and cobwebs. Maybe I should clean this place," she said kindly. "If I help, maybe whoever lives here will let me stay." She rolled up her sleeves, found a broom, and began to clean. As she began to sweep, Snow White felt a sense of purpose wash over her. With each stroke of the broom, she imagined the room transforming into a cozy haven. Dust started to settle and the cobwebs began to disappear, revealing the beauty hidden beneath the She washed the dishes, swept the floor, and even made a pot of hot soup. Birds flew in through the window, singing and helping her clean by picking up crumbs and dropping them outside. Soon the whole cottage sparkled and smelled wonderful. Snow White smiled proudly and said, "Now everything is perfect." Feeling accomplished, she admired her cozy home filled with warmth and happiness. The melodies of nature blended seamlessly with the comforting scent of her cooking, filling the air with joy. Snow White knew she had created a perfect sanctuary for herself and her tiny friends. Just as the sun began to set, footsteps echoed outside. Snow White hid behind the table, wondering who was coming. Through the door came 7 little men, each wearing a colorful hat and carrying tools from the mine. They were singing cheerfully, hi ho, it's home from work we go." Snow White listened intently as the little men filled the room with laughter. They shared tales of their adventures in the mine, each story more amusing than the last. Slowly, curiosity overcame her fear, and she began to emerge from her hiding place. When they entered, they stopped and looked around. "Someone's cleaned our house," said one dwarf. "Someone's washed our dishes," said another. "And someone's cooking soup," shouted a third, sniffing the air. The dwarves exchanged glances, excitement bubbling in the air as they speculated about who could have come to their aid. They couldn't recall inviting anyone, yet the evidence was unmistakable. Their home had been transformed. As they wandered through the house, laughter filled the air, their hearts warmed by the unexpected hospitality. The aroma of the soup was enough to bring them together, and soon they found themselves sharing stories and joy in their immaculate home. Snow White slowly stepped out from her hiding place, and the dwarves gasped. "Who are you?" they all asked together. "I'm Princess Snow White," she said gently. The dwarfs looked at each other in disbelief, their faces lighting up with excitement. They welcomed her into their cozy home, eager to share stories and laughter over the meal she prepared. As they sat around the table, the atmosphere became filled with laughter and warmth. Snow White listened intently to their stories, enchanted by their camaraderie and the magic of friendship. She was kind and gentle. One dwarf with glasses stepped forward and said, "We are the 7 dwarfs, and you are welcome to stay with us." Overwhelmed with joy, the young woman smiled back, feeling an unexpected sense of belonging. The dwarfs led her into their quaint cottage, eager to share stories and food as laughter filled the air. As they gathered around the table, the dwarfs shared tales of their adventures in the forest, each story laced with laughter and camaraderie, and the young woman listened intently, feeling a bond form between them. Snow White smiled happily. "Thank you so much. I promise to help you and take care of your home." That night, the dwarves and Snow White shared a warm meal together. They laughed, talked, and sang songs by the fire. Snow White finally felt safe and loved again. As the laughter echoed through the cottage, Snow White realized she had found a new family among the dwarfs, their hearts intertwined in warmth and joy. Each song told a story, each smile a promise of everlasting friendship. But far away in the castle, the wicked queen looked into her magic mirror and asked once more, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest of them all?" The mirror shimmered and replied, "You, my queen, are fair, but Snow White, who lives with the 7 dwarfs, is still the fairest of all." The wicked queen's heart filled with rage at the mirror's revelation, prompting her to plot against the innocent Snow White. Meanwhile, Snow White continued to bask in her joyous life, unaware of the dark plans brewing in the castle. The queen's eyes burned with fury. "She's still alive!" she hissed. And so she began to plan something even more wicked. What will the queen do next? Don't miss episode 3, The Wicked Plan. The queen sat in her dimly lit chamber, her mind racing with ideas of revenge. Each step echoed her determination as she crafted a plan that would shake the very foundation of her kingdom. The shadows danced around her, mirroring her dark ambitions, while her heart beat with anticipation. What will unfold next? Stay tuned for more.